Hello, everyone. So here we are again with the challenge season 38. We are at episode 19, and that is the final episode of the challenge. I believe they're in the final episode of the final, pretty much. And thank God, because that last episode was filler to the extreme, and it was boring as hell. This one starts out, I think their programming got a little messed up because of the injury, because I think they had a plan to have like an elimination challenge possibly. And that's why that last episode was such a shit show, because they were supposed to have an elimination and they couldn't do that. All right, so come to this episode, and I remember from the last one, Bananas and Nani was like ahead, and they were supposed to get some sort of bonus. I don't time, I guess, but I don't know what happened to that, because they just ran into a field and then waited to get on a helicopter to do some sort of challenge where they were tossing chalk balls at targets on the ground. I think the bonus that Nani and Bananas got was they got to choose who goes first or whatever, and they chose Tori and Devin to go first. And Devin happened to be very good at hitting the targets. He got like 10 in a row, and his partner was missing them. She was missing all over the place. And I think towards the end, they realized it would have been better if she had given Devin all the balls to throw so that they hit more targets. But they got to go first, so they didn't really learn that lesson until the end. So they got 10 points right away from Devin hitting targets. I think the second group to go was Anissa and what was his name? Jordan. Anissa and Jordan. And Jordan was missing. He was missing and first, and he was also not popping the chalk ball that they had to throw. He was throwing as hard as he can, and the ball wasn't breaking. It would just bounce, and yeah, it just wasn't doing the thing. Show you a little image of it. All right, you can see you see Devin here and Tori on the other side. Chalk balls are in these little containers. There's one of the balls in his hand. You just got to toss it down at targets on the ground. So, after Jordan and Anissa went, Anissa was missing, and she decided to give Jordan most of her balls to throw, and he was throwing a bunch of the balls, but he only managed to hit 6 targets. So I believe they got 6 points. And then the last to go was Bananas and Nani. Nani was missing, Bananas was missing. And yeah, so Nani decided to give most of her balls to Bananas, and he just kept missing. The balls were either not popping or not hitting the target. And I think he got, what was it, like 3 points? I think he got like 3 points, yeah. So they ended up in last place. And with the winner being Devin and Tori, they're back in the lead. They got to choose what the lineup is going to be for the next stage. And I guess they have to run to the next stage. And they chose themselves to go first. Then they chose Jordan and Anissa second. And then, of course, Bananas and Nani last, kind of returning the favor after what happened last with that challenge. So they move on to the next competition. What was it? Oh, it was the maze in the middle of the goddamn night. They had to run through a freaking corn maze. I don't like. It's not even interesting to fucking watch. Looks like they were playing laser tag in the dark, because they had these glow in the dark lights on them, and I couldn't freaking tell who was in the lead. And there was just this image that they were showing on the screen where they just show up a freaking corn maze and just put a bunch of colored points on the map showing where the teams are, and I can't freaking tell where they're supposed to go and what's the right way. If they took a wrong turn, it was just a visual nightmare, and they should never have done this at all. It was, they had to do so much cutting and It was stupid. It was a stupid idea. They wanted to do something interesting, and it just didn't work out the way it should, and that took a bit. So I guess the challenge of the maze is that they get to choose whatever path they can take. Uh, Devin and Tori went first. I think they went left in the maze, and then Jordan and Anissa went right, and then someone else went. What was it? Oh, right. Johnny and Nani went left as well. So ended up with Devin and Tori and Johnny and Nani end up at a camp with tents set up in the freaking middle of the dark ass maze. I'll show you an image of it right there. So they ran to get to this point with the freaking tent set up and the lights. I was like looking around, like, did they really just make them run through a maze for like a couple minutes so they can go to sleep? Again, I was wholly annoyed. And Jordan and Anissa, they go to a different point, but they also end up in a camp spot with tents. And then there was a freaking light show in the middle of the corn maze where a freaking bunch of lights light up on different stages, and they shone some lights at the corn maze. And in the middle of the corn maze, there's a station where the final showdown is going to happen. It just looked stupid. I just so they didn't sleep. Thankfully, they didn't freaking sleep. I'll show you an image of this nonsense. As you can see right there. So this is the camps. You can see it right there, neon lights over there. That's the camp where they ran to, with their tents are set up. And this is the final showdown that is going to happen. I think right here. And this over here is an elimination station where they're going to have an elimination right over here. I think the name of the game was Balls In, which I think they played before. I think this is the one that Jordan got eliminated at. So they're going to be playing that over here, and the final challenge is going to be happening over here. All right, in the middle of the goddamn maze. I think, as you can see, they're going to have to go through this maze, and as you can see, you can't even make out the tents, much less make out the people that are going to be running through this goddamn maze. So all they're going to do is have a map and just have color-coded points added in to let you know where the people are at the map. But you can't tell what's the right path. How am I even going to know? Like, it's just a bunch of cuts in the maze. Like, you can't get a good image of it. Maybe if they set up some drones or something. They should have just done this in the middle of the day. It was just stupid. It was a stupid choice. God damn it. So they didn't go to sleep. The lights came on and it was like a goddamn stadium show. And then they start running through the maze. Show you, this is the close-up that they did of people running through the maze. As you can see there, I think that's Bananas and that's Nani. And you can see them running through the maze. Visually appealing, isn't it? Just bad choices all around. And the music was terrible. I think it was like some band. I guess they used it because the name of the song was The Forest. It's terrible. So they run through the maze. Apparently Nani re-hurt her knee or some shit, and she was bitching about it, and Bananas didn't know, but he was trying to rush her so they could get to the end point faster. And Jordan and Anissa kept getting lost. They kept getting turned around. Tori and Devin was kind of breezing through the maze a little bit. They got there first. They got to the end point first, and they got to like chill, and they waited for a while until the next team came. And apparently the other two teams took a wrong turn, and there were two entrances they can take, and they took the exact wrong turn that is longer than the one that Tori and Devin took. All right. So they get to the end point. Bananas is he gets there and Nani starts complaining and bitching at him, and apparently she starts slapping his hand and all this stuff, and he's like, you know, because he was hurrying her up, and he didn't know about her freaking injury, and now she's all bitchy and pissy, and it's just like, he comes there to help you win money. You've been bitching at him from the very beginning. He doesn't need you. You need him. And you've been crabby the whole goddamn time. I know they love to say this thing of, oh, you know, that's our relationship. We argue back and forth, but it's just like, most of the time it's Nani bitching that Bananas is not taking it seriously, and she's also bitching that he's taking it too seriously. At the end of the day, she's the problem. She's the problem. Just like, all right. It's just annoying to watch them freaking bicker back and forth, and for her to be self-righteous. At least say both of you are shitty. If she said both of us can be assholes, and I was being a dick that time, because he's constantly saying, well, I'm being an asshole and all this stuff. Never once has she said that about herself. She's just like, oh, he can be this, and it's just like, I don't like hypocrites. I dislike hypocrisy to the extreme. All right, so because Devin and Tori got there first, the other two teams have to now compete in the elimination called Balls In, where pretty much they start outside of a rope circle with a little basket in the middle of it, and they're going to take turns, and it's like best 3 out of whatever, best the first team to 3 points. So they start outside the circle, and they take turns. It's going to be men. It's going to be women's, then men, and that's pretty much how it goes. They start with Anissa and Nani. Nani goes first to try to score, and all she has to do is get at the inner circle. Once you get at the inner circle, Anissa can't touch her, and she get a clear point to go score. So she just got to get in the inner circle, and Anissa has to stop her from doing that. Anissa goes for her. She jukes out Anissa, gets around her, gets to the inner circle, and all she has to do is walk and score, because Anissa can't touch her after this point. But instead of doing that, she rushes in, tries to dunk the ball, hits the side of the basket, ball falls and flies out, hits the ground. She doesn't score a point. Banana starts screaming at her. It's like, all you have to do is calm down and walk. You just have to walk and score. She's not listening. She's not listening. She's yelling back at him. She's like, don't yell at me. Not listening. So you can see that's the inner circle here. They start out here. Once that person gets inside that inner circle, they can just walk and score right there. But what Nani does, she gets around Anissa. Anissa couldn't move fast enough. Gets around Anissa, gets into there, and Anissa still tries to stop her, which is against the rules, even though Anissa didn't make it to her, thank God, because she would have been disqualified for trying to stop her. But she gets there, she tries to dunk the ball, it hits the edge here, bounce off, hits the sand, and it's out of play. Doesn't score a point. Then it goes Anissa's turn. Anissa tries to plow through Nani, because Anissa is not very agile. So she tries to plow through Nani, and Nani goes for her legs, because both Nani and Anissa has injured legs. Nani decides to go for her legs because she knows she's smaller and she can't really, so she goes for Anissa's legs. And that slows down Anissa quite a bit. Anissa falls on the ground. They wrestle about. Anissa drops the ball on the ground. No score. So it goes to Jordan and Bananas now. I think Bananas goes first. He plows right through Jordan because he weighs more. Right through Jordan, gets to the inner rope, scores. Then Jordan goes. Bananas pulls him back a little bit, but eventually he crawls his way through the rope, gets it in the rope, scores. All right, so now they're tied up. I think they have 1 point each. So it goes back to Anissa and Nani, and Nani goes first. She jukes out Anissa again. Anissa kind of tried to get a hold of her, couldn't. Jukes out Anissa, gets to the inner rope, runs again, and knocks the ball onto the same spot, bounce off, hits the sand, no score. So Banana starts yelling at her again. He's like, "What are you doing? I told you just walk." And she's like, "Stop yelling at me." It's like, "You did the same thing again." He's completely right. She's not listening to him. She's getting all self-righteous. She's not listening to him. Makes the same mistake twice. No points for them. Anissa goes, and I believe Anissa was she able to score a point? No, I don't think Anissa was able to score a point. I think what happened was Nani juked out Anissa. Anissa put too much weight on her injured ankle, and she folded it a little bit. And Nani was yeah, I think none of them scored that round. And then it came back to Jordan and Bananas, and Bananas took off. I guess they all got like a thermal long sleeve shirt that they got to put on. Bananas took his off, and he just had the short sleeve jersey that they all wore above that thermal shirt. And he did that strategically so that when he went for Jordan, he got to grab onto the long sleeves and hold Jordan back. And Jordan couldn't do the same to him because he didn't have those sleeves on. And he was able to hold Jordan back. Jordan dropped the ball, didn't score, but Bananas did score. So now they kind of got a point ahead. Go back to Nani and Nisa. I believe Nani, did she score a point? I think she scored a point that time. She was able to score a point because Anissa's bad leg, she was able to score a point. And then it was Anissa's turn to defend. And no, it was Nani's turn to defend and Anissa's turn to score. And Nani tackled her legs and she folded like laundry and she went down. And because of the injury, she started screaming. And yeah, they lost. So they lost and there was a whole thing. Everyone was sad. I don't care. So now it comes down to Nani and Bananas versus Devin and Tori for the final. And they decided to do a whole thing where they brought back the losers. They brought back Jordan and Anissa and Olivia and Horacio. And Olivia's face is jacked up, like jacked all the way up. She said she broke her face in 19 places. I think she was just talking about her nose. But she looks, let me show you an image of it. Jordan with his terrible fashion sense as usual. Anissa, just stuffed as can be in her clothes, like wrapped like a burrito. So we have Olivia over here looking like she went through a couple of rounds with Mike Tyson and she did not win. And then Horacio is just there. It's just like, I want to compete, but I'm a loser. So they did that whole segment of bringing them back to cheer on the winners, apparently, because that's what you want to do. You want to cheer for the people that are about to win the competition that you wanted to win. That's fun stuff. So they start the final round. It's like a series of was it like rooms that they have to clear? The first room is like they have to, God damn it, I don't even know what those things are called. is these little metal arrow things that they have to like shimmy and try to get it out of the plyboard that is there. They have to get that out. I think the second room is a bunch of cinder blocks that they have to arrange into a puzzle. Third room is sand. They have to dig out the sand to crawl through. And then the last room is they have to pull lever together in order to win. All right. So, of course, with this one, with Bananas being stronger than Devin, he was blazing through that first part of pulling those metal pikes out. I think the metal pikes part was like the same challenge that freaking Fessy won, where he eliminated Nelson. So it was definitely a strength based competition. So Bananas kind of rooted through that one. They got a huge head start, and they got to the second room where they had to now arrange the cinder blocks into a puzzle. So they have to pull out, I think it was like 200 cinder blocks. They have to pull it out of the room and arrange it on a platform into a puzzle that pretty much is just a challenge logo. The challenge logo on both sides of the cinder block arrangement. All right. So they start doing that. Eventually, Devin and Tori started on that one as well. And they were both on the puzzle, but Bananas and Nani had a huge head start on that. And they started bickering because Nani, her job was to arrange the puzzle pieces. His job was to get the cinder blocks out of the room and bring it to her. All she had to do was pick it up when he pulls it out and arrange it. But she kept fucking that up. And he kept yelling at her, and she kept screaming, "Stop yelling at me." And he's like, "You keep doing the same thing." So the same argument that they had before when they were doing the elimination, and she's still not listening to him, and she's still bitching about him being yelling because she's not listening. She keeps making the same mistake. This is what I mean when I say she's a goddamn hypocrite. And this is a problem because she doesn't take accountability for her bullshit. And if she did, she would at least be humble enough to slow down and listen to what he's saying, and they could win. But they still had a head start. So they started arranging the puzzle of cinder blocks. And he's trying to tell her some of the cinder blocks have symbols on them or colors on them. Put them on the side. And it's on the middle. It's going to be all blank cinder blocks. Put the ones with symbols on them on the side, so that they can arrange the puzzle on each side. That's what he's telling her to do. And she's arguing back against him while not doing that. And Devin on the other side, he's telling Tori what to do, and she's listening to him because she knows he's better at puzzles. They have that dynamic where they know who's doing what, because there's lots of times where Devin would yield to Tori because she knows what she's doing in a certain situation. That's teamwork. You know your partner's strength, you know your weaknesses, you know when to take a step back, and you know when to go forward. In this situation, when freaking Nani's like folding like God, she's just, her mind is blank and she's not doing the right things. That is when she should be listening. But she's so unaccountable and so arrogant and so hypocritical that she refused to listen, even when she's wrong. And that's why they constantly bicker, because no one takes a step back. Bananas often takes a step back, but she does not. And you can see how that becomes a problem. And that's why he pointed out, I don't give a shit that she's an asshole. I don't really care. But in a competition, it's a problem. So they have a head start on the puzzle. Devin is arranging it. He's like, put all the cinder blocks on the side. We're going to deal with that later. They put all the blank ones in the middle, and then they go to assemble the puzzles on the sides. So that's their plan. And while they're doing that, they look over and they notice Bananas and Nani, their puzzle is messed up because the symbol that they were creating, show you an image of it. All right. As you can see at the bottom there, the symbol that they're creating, that little arrow here, that's when it's complete, that arrow is going to curve into a bottom triangle, a top triangle, and in the middle it's going to say challenge, right? This little arrow, it's supposed to be all the way to the bottom here. So all they had to switch these blocks out, put that block on the side, that block on the side, and the arrow should be all the way to the bottom here. But because they put it one block up, they weren't able to complete the triangle on the top. And that's what Devin and Tori noticed. And once they noticed that, they know that even though the other team has a lead, they're going to have to undo their whole thing so they have a chance to make a comeback. So they start they going through it, and eventually Bananas and I think it was Nani's Nani that noticed the problem first, and she pointed out to Bananas that they have to rearrange it and all that stuff. They rearrange it, and they go to work on the other side to do the puzzle again on the other side, because they have to do it on both sides. And but they argue back and forth before they even got to that point. And Tori and Devin, they finished their puzzle. They moved on to the second part, digging out the sand. And while they're digging out the sand, Bananas and Nani noticed that they're missing one piece. They're missing one colored block that they need to complete their puzzle. And it's probably in the center of the puzzle that they just completed. So now they would have to dig out possibly hundreds of freaking cinder blocks in order to find that one that they need. And guess whose job it was to arrange the colored pieces? You guessed it, Nani. So you see how her bitchy attitude is a problem now. Now it's costing them money, and they're too exhausted, and they don't want to, neither one of them want to go through the whole thing. So they pretty much just stand around and bicker while Devin and Tori win. They like in real time. I don't know why the show didn't cut that part out, but they like in real time, they're just standing around and just waiting for the other team to win. So I already know who the winners are going to be. It's not a competition anymore. And in the end, Bananas was mad at himself because he felt like he cost her to win. And she said it's fine. She's like, I've lost 12 times. It's fine. I'm used to losing. No one points out that the reason they lost is because of her. No one holds her accountable for her bullshit, even while they're trying to figure out how to get the blocks, whatever. She was yelling at him. She fucked up, and not one point did she say, I fucked up. He took the blame for the whole thing. It was disgusting to watch, to be honest to you, would you? Because I would have ignored it if they didn't force me to sit through the other team pretty much get a clear spot to win, and Bananas and Nani bickering. It was annoying. So Devin and Tori wins, and everyone's happy for them, all that stuff. And they decided to give some money, pay it forward to all the losers. In honor of 38th season, they decided to give $38,000 to each team of their money. So I think they win like, what is it, like a million each or something like that. So they give 38,000 to each losing team. So Anissa and Jordan get some money, and Olivia and Horacio get some money. So they're paying it forward, and they're making it a tradition. If it was me and I played that challenge, I would not pay it forward for shit, because when you win, you become a target. So there's no point in paying people to then turn around and go against you. But it could help, I guess, in case you get to the final and you didn't win. that someone would throw you some money, I guess. It could go either way. It depends on how well you won. If you win by a mile, no one would want you in a final. You get no money, so there's no point in paying anybody. But with a close competition like that, where it could have gone anyway if Nani wasn't, you know what? Then I guess I can see the the reasoning in paying it forward, because they probably plan to compete again, and if they have guaranteed money in the final, good on them. So anyways, it was disappointing to me to watch this, but it's over now. Goodbye.